Welcome back. My name is Ho Mai, and today we are going to be talking about intervallic qualities. Now, this is what I call it. This is also what some other music theorists call it. The name is unimportant. The only thing that's important is understanding the concept. So, if you haven't seen the intervallic numbers basic 1 video, you can check that out in this playlist. But assuming you understand those concepts. In that video, we talked about the fact that intervals are the distance between two notes. You can have intervals of a third, a fourth, an octave. Lots of different types of intervals exist. The quality refers to whether an interval is major, minor, diminished, or augmented. So we're going to go into an in-depth view here into what each of those mean and how to determine them for your intervals. Okay, and we might even break that up into a few different videos just to simplify. So before we even get to what major and minor and diminished and augmented mean, let's figure out the basic distance in music using this keyboard here. So in music, you'll notice that we have a keyboard. And I want to ignore the front part of this keyboard. We're just going to look at the back part of this keyboard here. And it just so happens that when you go from any key to the key immediately adjacent to it, in either direction, that is the distance of 1/2 step. That is the distance of 1/2 step. So it doesn't matter which key it is. You'll notice sometimes we go from a white key to a black key. That's a 1/2 step. Sometimes it's a black key to a white key. That's a 1/2 step. And other times we go between two white keys that are neighboring. That is also a 1/2 step. So the piano keyboard has a pattern: 2 black keys and 3 black keys. There are 2 pairs of white keys that are adjacent: the keys B and C, and the keys E and F. This is something you'll just have to memorize. B and C is a 1/2 step, E and F is a 1/2 step. B, C, E, F. If we go from F to G, we have to pass through a black key before we arrive at the next white key. 2 1/2 steps, 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole step. So F to G is a whole step apart. And it just so happens that every single other grouping of white keys, other pair of white keys, neighboring white keys, is a whole step apart. So G to A is a whole step. A to B is a whole step. C to D is a whole step. D to E is a whole step. These are all a whole step apart. Whereas B to C and E to F are 1/2 steps apart. This is very important because when we talk about intervallic qualities, we're going to be defining them based on the numbers of 1/2 steps and whole steps between the notes. So make sure you understand this. Let's test your understanding, reinforce this a little bit. Let's erase this here. And now, let's say that we have the note C, and let's go to the note E flat. How many 1/2 steps are in between these keys? This is how we determine it. We start on C, then we're going to ascend 1, that's 1/2 step, then another 1/2 step, and one more 1/2 step to arrive to E flat. Each of these are 1/2 steps. We add these together, and that gives us a total of 3 1/2 steps, or 1.5 whole steps. Doesn't matter how you think of it. You can think of it either way, 1.5 whole steps or 3 half steps. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's try another one. Let's go from the note, let's do a bigger interval, B to F sharp, B to F sharp. Okay, you can pause the video if you need a moment to figure this out. Let's count them. Come from B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 half steps. 7 half steps. Okay? All right, hopefully this makes sense to you. Let's take, for example, an example where you're looking at a staff paper. Okay? So let's say we have bass clef, and let's say that we have the note B flat, and we're going up to E flat. How many half steps are between B flat and E flat? To determine this, you might want to refer to a keyboard. Later on, this will be a little bit easier if you're a bit more advanced, but if you're beginning and this is tough, I highly recommend using a keyboard. You can draw a keyboard out, or you can just have a printed keyboard in front of you. So our notes were B flat and E flat. Now it's easy to see. We can visualize it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 half steps. Okay? In the next video, we are going to talk about actual qualities. And again, I think I'm going to break it up and just I want to be as detailed as I can, and while keeping these videos relatively short in length. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comments below, and I will try to get around to those. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.